Jesse, I'm a 27-year-old man. I've always leaned Christian conservative. However, I stay friends with many leftists over the years, as far back as high school, and a couple of them even became trannies. As the rhetoric is increased over the years, their behavior became more and more extreme. I've always stayed friendly because, like Charlie Kirk always said, when people stop communicating, they get violent. I recently went to dinner at my close friend's house, who is trans, and was shocked to hear them celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder right to my face. I feel conflicted now because I can't come to terms with the fact that people I called friends for years celebrating the death of someone who thought a lot like me. And they didn't seem to realize how disturbing they were behaving. One of my other friends who thinks more like me said I should have stopped being around them the second they became trans and that I shouldn't associate with leftists. Was my friend right and Charlie Kirk wrong? Is there no communication possible with these communist animals? Having become a father recently, I've begun to feel I need to cut anyone out who is like that. What do you say? Do I cut off the crazy commies in my life? All right. So here are a couple things. First, let me clarify. You really don't want to ever give up on anyone. You know, always keep them in your prayers. However, let me ask you, if you and I were friends, right? And I go from being a normal human being to thinking that I can fly. Every time we get together, I tell you that I can fly, that I'm going to go jump off a bridge, that I'm going to go to the highest building around and jump off a bridge. When I get around your wife, your children, I tell them that I can fly. I tell them, in fact, not only do I think I can fly, that I can turn into a bird, and that I'm going to slowly but surely start gluing feathers to myself, and I'm going to become a bird, and I'm going to fly. Do you think I'm somebody safe to be around? Do you think I'm somebody you should allow in your home? Around your children? Look, I would hope that you would pray for me, but you need to let me go. Transgender, this tranny insanity, these people, they are mentally ill. You do not have to hate them. You certainly don't have to yell at them. But they are mentally ill people who need professional help. They need your prayer. They need professional help. But they are shattered mentally. And this is increasing because the evil communists, we know them as Democrats, are trying to increase it. Big Pharma is trying to increase it with drugs. Doctors are trying to increase it because they make money off these disgusting surgeries. So you take somebody who's mentally ill. Imagine it's me telling everyone I can turn into a bird, and then I have a psychiatrist saying, absolutely, I believe you are a bird. I think you can turn into a bird. In fact, let me give you a prescription here. This will make it easier on your mind that as you transition into a bird. And then I eventually go into the doctor's office and I say, doctor, I feel like I'm turning into a bird and I can fly. And he says, absolutely, you can fly. In fact, why don't we schedule you for a surgery next week where we'll chop your arms off and we'll glue wings to your arms. So now I went from being somebody mentally ill who has problems. Now I have people everywhere who I think are in positions of authority. They are affirming my mental illness. They're confirming all of my delusions. Am I somebody you should dine with? Your friends were celebrating the assassination of a 31-year-old husband and father because your friends are sick. They're very, very sick. And you need to stay away from them for your own sake, for the sake of your family. And look, I'm not saying you can't ever minister to them in some way, bring them a meal. You can touch base. Of course you do that for people who are struggling. No different than working in a homeless shelter. You ever do that? Done that before. You know what you encounter all day long? People who are drugged out, mentally ill, mentally broken. You can go serve, help, but you're not throwing them in the back of your car and driving them down to Red Lobster for Cheddar Bay biscuits. No. I'm sorry. I know that hurts, but you need to get these people out of your life. They have moved on and embraced a level of mental illness that's not just going to hurt them and hurt others. It could very easily hurt you. If you had a friend who became a very violent person, maybe not even necessarily with you, they just loved to punch people, loved to get in fights all the time. Every time you went out, even at Red Lobster, he goes and pounds 10 beers and starts throwing punches at the bartender. Would you continue to go out with him? Or would you say, no, I've got to move on? Your friends are broken mentally, and they are going to become more violent because that's what happens when your mind starts to melt and you get that affirmed by people in positions of authority. I've told you this before, too. Don't ignore the drug aspect of this. Did you know, I'm sure it's the case in other states, but I can confirm it. I know this for a fact in Texas. Did you know the pharmaceutical companies, they will sponsor these LGBTQ demonic filth parades here? Did you know that? Why? Why do you think they do that? Because if you can shatter somebody mentally that way, they're going to buy your drugs for the rest of their probably very short lives. They will be buying your drugs until the day you kill yourself. That's the truth. It's sad, it's horrible, it's evil, it's wrong, but that's the truth. Let them go. All right?